the creation of the working groups were a really smart way to help connect people who are passionate about those particular areas of focus, and help, bring like-minded people together who were able to then, most strategically deploy what they were, how they were able to help their neighbors and what they were best at thinking at or most interested in thinking about. It's so easy for people who want to be involved to feel lost and struggle to figure out how they can best get involved. So I think the working groups were a really smart way to help people feel more connected.
That was, based on people's like interests and skill sets, and like part of, I mean, I guess a big part of like that resource question you had was also building the volunteer resource and keeping volunteers engaged was, outside of the core team, or not even just the core team, but like the core group of volunteers that were always really active. We had like a large database of volunteers that signed up, but then like, we kind of needed to figure out how do we get you engaged and like how do we make sure that you have what you need to actually contribute. So it's nice to see everyone putting their talents and taking ownership over like a specific piece of aman, for the greater cause.
The creation of the working groups to me really marks a turning point of when we initially were really looking at what resources exist, what can we find and point neighbors to, what programs are already in place. And at some point, we realized yes, there are a few programs in place, or food banks or organizations that may meet the needs we're seeing, but there aren't enough, and there are huge gaps in the types of resources that exist. So the creation of the working groups was really when we, I think, became more proactive and we said, okay, here are the resources that exist, here are the gaps. How do we as a community organize to fill those gaps?
Yeah, for me it's extraordinary how all of the working groups feed into each other. Yes, they're individual initiatives, and Aman has set it up in such a way that and people can bite off just as much as they can chew. Of course, a lot of us bite off more than we can, but how they feed into each other, and how one group can inspire another or enrich a community in a greater way. Like the wellness check-in group, I thought of it as just a buddy system within the neighborhood and making sure people had essentials. I didn't know that we would be able to expand that to installing ACs, getting people heaters, setting them up with financial aid, getting them on assistance programs that already exist, but because of language barriers or technology were in their way.